Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be talking about the iPhone 13. Since the iPhone 12 came out, there's been a whole host of rumours going around about what might be next for the iPhone series. But the iPhone 12 already came packed with loads of new features. We got the Super Retina screen across the whole iPhone 12 series, rather than just on the Pro version in the iPhone 11. The whole line also got a significant hardware upgrade with iPhone's new A14 Bionic processor, promising 50% better CPU and GPU performance, as well as a 16-core neural engine that delivers an 80% performance increase. We also got 5G capabilities and Magsafe Charging, and if that wasn't enough, we also got a new LIDAR scanner on the iPhone 12 Pro models. So it's fair to say that the iPhone 12 got a fairly big update with the iteration of the iPhone 12. So what could be next in the series? It's perhaps easier to look at what was rumoured for the iPhone 12 and then subsequently didn't happen. Most notable amongst this was the Lightning port, in that the iPhone 12 still has one. A lot of people thought that this would finally be the year that Apple did away with their one remaining port in their phone. But it didn't happen. But why would you want to move to a portless architecture? And if this is Apple's ambition, why didn't they do it in this iteration? So as with a lot of Apple's design changes, it's all about trying to achieve complete control over the phone, as well as solving its perceived problems, often by radically changing the way we design phones in the process. We only have to look back at some previous iterations and changes to the iPhone to see this. If we take a look back at the iPhone 10, they got rid of the home button, to quite a lot of shock and upset from Apple fans. To be fair, some of the concern was justified. By getting rid of the home button, you lost the ability to use Touch ID. However, Apple got around this by introducing Face ID, just a different form of biometric security for your phone. And by removing the home button, Apple was able to maximize the screen size without actually having to increase the size of the phone. And by using smart gestures, which I think it's fair to say Apple is the king of, you were able to eliminate the need for a home button. So another major change in the iPhone series was when they decided to get rid of the headphone port on the iPhone 7. How they justified this was a little bit contentious. They said it allowed them to make the iPhone the first water and dust resistant iPhone, but there was already other phones available at the time that were water and dust resistant and also had a headphone port as well. So then Apple revealed the real reason they removed the headphone jack when they presented their new Apple AirPods. New, incredibly expensive, instantly popular headphones that, guess what, you now had to buy because there was no headphone jack. This is what Apple like to do as part of their design process. Admittedly, while making their phones usually better, they like to limit your options as a customer because the more you buy Apple, the harder it goes to shop elsewhere. We can see this in their new M1 chip Macs. The M1 chip is a significant upgrade to the older Mac hardware, but guess what? The RAM is not upgradable and the computers won't work with an external GPU. So you can't buy extra RAM, you can't use an external GPU to increase the performance, furthering the rhetoric of you either buy all Apple or you buy no Apple. So how does this all tie into a possible portless design for the iPhone 13? How are they going to do it, and what is the value add for the customers? So I think we've already started to see that transition with the iPhone 12. With the new Magsafe charging system, you can already do wireless charging in iPhones, and you could on the iPhone 11 as well. Now, does this mean they'll have to include the Magsafe charger in the new iPhone 13 box? I mean, yeah, I think they'll have to. The new iPhone Magsafe charger costs £39 on its own, and I don't think they'll be able to justify the extra cost of the charger on top of the phone. So what I think will happen is they'll probably come out with a cheaper, less nice version of the Magsafe charger to put in the actual iPhone box. The justification for this, though, I'm a bit more unsure about. I guess they'll be able to use Apple's age-old excuse. By removing the Lightning port, they'll have more space to put more hardware in the phone, and therefore whatever new feature they have in the iPhone, it's because they've removed the Lightning port. Simple, right? But to be fair, do they actually need much justification for this? Think about how you use your Lightning port. I can't remember the last time I used it for anything but charging the phone. The vertical integration between Apple's devices now is just so good that you really don't need a wired way of transferring data between devices, especially if you have multiple Mac products. But why didn't they do this in this iteration? Well, I think that's because they just want to take it in steps, really. They've released the Magsafe charging for the iPhone in the iPhone 12, and now they can make sure that that's working fine and there's no problems with it. So when they release the iPhone 13 without a port, they can be safe in the knowledge that there's no problems with their charging system. But we can probably expect a lot more from the iPhone 13 than just a portless architecture. Something people were a bit disappointed with the iPhone 12 was the display. Some people thought that the iPhone 12 would have the new 120Hz Pro Motion refresh rate that's currently available in the iPad Pro. Now that it didn't come out in the iPhone 12, people are presuming that it will come out in the iPhone 13, probably in the Pro and Pro Max versions of the phone. Having a 120Hz display is super useful for smooth animations and scrolling. To be honest, it's probably something you wouldn't notice in your day-to-day use of the iPhone and is maybe a little bit overkill. But if you're using the iPhone in a creative capacity, for example video editing, the difference will probably be quite noticeable, especially if you're using something like the Apple Pen, which relies on a quick refresh rate. As with all iterations in the iPhone recently, an improved camera is a must. But the iPhone 12 already has a triple camera system, as well as an improved LIDAR sensor in the more advanced models. So how can you improve on that? What's better than 3 cameras? Well, 4 cameras, obviously. No, I'm not kidding. Apple is said to be working on a quad camera system with an improved 10 times optical zoom to match the Samsung Galaxy S20. What I'd really like to see from the camera of the new iPhone 13 though, is to have portrait mode available when recording videos. Portrait mode basically gives you this nice blurred out effect, or bokeh it's called if you like cameras. And effectively, that would allow amateur YouTubers or vloggers to be able to create really nice videos with that nice effect without actually having to buy an expensive camera to do it. Now, I think iPhone uses the LIDAR sensor rather than the lens to do that, and it basically judges the distance of the person away from the camera as well as the distance away from the background to create that nice blurred effect. I think at the moment the specs on the phone aren't capable of running that at a pace to keep up with recording a video, but who knows, maybe with the new chip and the new design of the iPhone, they might be able to do that. The selfie camera is apparently also getting an update with a time of flight camera. Now, combining that with AI and computer vision, you'll be able to track people's gestures from the selfie camera, and you might be able to develop some touchless navigation in the iPhone from that. I'm not sure whether that'll be in the next iPhone because it's quite a big problem to solve, but if they're able to, that would be pretty cool. So I must say, none of this has been confirmed in the new iPhone 13. This is just a lot of the speculation going around and where people think it's going to go. Some of it might come to fruition, some of it might not. One thing you can be sure of though, whenever Apple goes somewhere, people tend to follow. So if they do come out with a portless iPhone, I think you'll see a lot of the other phone providers going the same way in the coming years. I'd be interested to know what you guys think, so remember to comment below. Do you think the iPhone's going to go portless? Do you think that's a good idea even? Thanks for watching the video guys. As always, happy deving, and I'll see you in the next video.